So, how have you guys been? Anything new happened this week?
Mm, I had
Not really.
sip and shop thing.
Oh yeah, how'd that do?
Well, we only had a couple people, but it was the first time I think I mentioned last week, it was the first time I kind of went through to this demographic, and it was good. The partners that I brought on board, the vendors were really happy because we all intermingled. Like they basically said it's nice just to be with people of like-minded businesses. So it was definitely, that was a plus, but I just wish there were a couple more people. So I think it was good because we're doing a bigger event in March. So it kind of introduced these vendors to each other. So we're all kind of like more comfortable and we were able to brainstorm. But on the downside, not as many people. But I did have one client that has cancer that got to connect with one of our alkaline water vendor with an juicing vendor that was really, really happy. So it was like the couple people that did come in, it was really good. So
I'm gonna go ahead and do the intro for this. Welcome to the CryoHelpers Podcast. Today we're this topic. It's not necessarily what we can do, but it's more going to be about what we can do for our clients and more or less what we can't do for certain clients. I want to go over what restrictions do you guys, and what should everyone put in place so that they're not giving cryotherapy to someone who cryotherapy might not be the best option for them. Age limits, weight to a certain degree, heart surgeries, heart conditions, stuff like that. I'm not afraid to admit I'm going to be the least educated here on these topics, but I always give my 2 cents. So, so I guess like the first question, would be, their first restriction and regulation would be, how old would someone have to be to do cryotherapy? Because I've heard it done all the way down to 12 years old. And it was a cryofacial. That was like the youngest I've seen. It might've been younger actually, but, it was just a cryofacial. It wasn't like a whole body cryo session or anything like that. For you guys, what age do you guys, kind of draw that line at?
we have a hard 14-year-old policy for the full body cryotherapy. So yeah, we had a little bit more pushback at the beginning of the business with that, when the knowledge not being out about it, because we had some people coming in that their kids were younger than that had been getting cryo, full body cryo done at other facilities. And so we did get a little pushback a couple times, but it's our hard no for 14 and under. Well, they have to be at least 14.
Right. All right. And is there any, like, obviously, yeah, okay. I was going to ask, is there any specific reason behind 14? But I mean, obviously, the temperatures that the whole body chamber can get to, you definitely want a more a mature body, because if they're too young, their bodies aren't necessarily going to be able to take those temperatures, even though it's just for 3 minutes. I assume that's why you have that restriction. Is there any specific as to why you stop at 14? If not, why not 15 or 13?
So what I tell our clients is, because we get that a lot, is that when we're young and prepubescent, we haven't quite been able to regulate temperature properly. It's shown that hormonally we just need more time to be able to regulate temperature efficiently. So the general age has been 14. We keep that at 14. So we tell people, there's some kids that may be able to regulate younger than that, but as a safety precaution to all kids, we just go ahead and say 14, and then we monitor from 14 up.
All right, awesome. Dan, have you had any problems with this, or have you?
No, because we're just localized.
Right.
So I've had a 12-year-old. Would I go lower than 12? Probably not. I haven't had that yet. And then I make all the parents sign a waiver anyway, so it doesn't, so I'm covered.
Right. All right. Awesome. Dan, yours is, for those of you who don't know, Dan does a completely mobile, in-house localized cryotherapy and cryofacials. So you really, that's another thing, I just thought about this because, I really like your business model. I've said it before, but you don't really have to, really worry about a lot of the, regulations and, restrictions that, most centers, have to deal with, simply because your clientele, and you're, it goes hand in hand with the work that you do. But you actually might come across this, how does weight come into play when it comes to, cryotherapy, whether it be whole body or localized, because with, in when people are, generally, close to or categories as obese, their cholesterols are packed up, meaning that affects their bloodstream. And, the whole point of cryotherapy is that it opens up your blood vessels to allow more, more flow, to put it simply. So how would weight affect, whole body cryo and, localized? Because I feel like even localized, your weight would still play a factor in it. I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong there. It's
well on my machine, the CryoSand 50. There are different options you can select based on someone's body type.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone is a small build, medium build, or bigger build, I can choose one of the three, and then it makes that adjustment for me. Other than that,
mm-hmm.
I don't.
Right.
That's just the only way I know how to do it.
Mm-hmm. And and this is kind of a touchy subject, but I feel like this is like the type of information that no one really talks about, and I feel like this is just something that like these topics they're a bit hard because we want cryotherapy to work for everyone, but it just doesn't work for everyone because of their conditions, and I didn't know if weight specifically was a restriction, or if it was more the risks that come along with that.
Well, for us, the weight is not an issue. Only if it only becomes an issue for inside the machine, if they can fit or not.
Mm-hmm.
So we found some ways. The big thing is the lifts. The lifts can break after a certain weight. So we have found ways to kind of accommodate a larger person that may still be able to fit in, like, for example, a big basketball player or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have, or someone that's a bit shorter, a basketball player won't even need any lift probably, but someone that may be shorter but big bulky but can still fit in there. We've done actually steps so they can fit in and not have to use the lift. And then we've also, just talking about kind of having that conversation, I always, if someone comes in and there's a little bit of a question in my thought, and I train my team that, if someone comes in and you feel like they may struggle with that, there's other modalities that we offer that we can accommodate to. But if you have someone that comes in, you just bring them to the back and you do the tour. And, we've been kind of fortunate with some of the heavier people we've had that, for example, we had what is that competition with they throw the big trees and stuff.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm familiar.
But I mean, obviously he knows he's a giant man. So it was more like bringing him back specifically and just kind of joking about it. Like, hey man, you know, you're a big dude. Let's see if you can fit in this thing. Now, if there's other people, again, that you kind of feel like probably won't fit in the machine, but you don't want to say that, we'll lean them in, we'll bring them into the room. A lot of times they'll kind of acknowledge it themselves. And then if they don't, then I just say, just due to the mechanism that we have or the machine that we have, let's see if this will work for you. And then if I have them walk up to it, and if it doesn't work for them, I say, if we can close the door, we're fine, as long as you can move and turn. But if not, I don't want you to worry, because we have some other options that may work for you. And then we have that conversation. Because really we've had great success with heavier people with the circulation and the whole body cryotherapy. For example, having people with surgery wounds in the lower extremities of the body, and a heavier person tends to, since the circulation isn't as good as someone that doesn't have as much adipose tissue or fat tissue, the cryotherapy we've seen help actually heal wounds that have been open for long periods of time due to that. So, I mean, we try and get heavier people in, because especially for certain things, because it really does work wonders. It's just having that conversation and kind of being like, you know, not full on just being like, hey, you're not going to fit in this thing. But I think the key is letting them figure it out for themselves. And then if not, having backup plans for still giving them the results that they want, maybe not using that treatment, you know?
Yeah. I get what you're saying. So that's really important to keep in mind. You know,
you get a lot of people just for weight loss that come in, Jen?
No, we don't. I mean, it's kind of something, we have people come in and they mention it and we kind of discredit it. I mean, I don't know if other cryo people are really into that. We're just really holistically recovery and injury based. So whenever someone comes in and talks about the weight loss, we really tell them that's not really our focus. It helps rev up your metabolism. But we don't want to mislead you by thinking that you can come in 50 pounds overweight or 100 pounds overweight and this is going to help you find that. And then we have other ways that will go, okay, but we can talk to you about nutrition or getting out of pain so you can become more active and that kind of stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. But we kind of discourage people to use cryo for that reason. Yeah.
For the most part, with the Cryotherapy Center and owners, you know, that I've talked to, for the most part, they'll say, like when they're talking about their whole body cryo for instance, you know, they'll say, you know, we tell our clients that, you know, they're burning, you know, 500 calories in 3 minutes, but we definitely don't focus on that as far as one of the benefits. They only say that. Most people just say that if they ask or if they get asked that question. But I have seen people glorify the whole body cryo and just cryotherapy in general for weight loss, even for more intense things like the cryoslimming and cryotoning. That is really good for, you know, helping a current lifestyle. It's not a cure-all. And I'm happy that most people see it that way. You know, they do a free consultation and, you know, where they'll be able to tell, you know, if this is a good fit for them or not. And they let them know like, hey, yeah, this will work, but it will only work with you, not for you. Mm-hmm. And that's really the whole part of cryotherapy, you know, is when it comes to weight loss is, you know, it'll help work with you, but it isn't a weight loss cure.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. I say I actually cryo before my workout sessions, because if they mention that, I say I work out before my cryo do this before my workouts, because I get the energy boost. And then, hey, if my metabolism is revved because I've just had to reheat my whole body, I want to take advantage of that and hop in the gym and maybe burn some calories. But again, it's like I'm using the effect to help with my workout.
Exactly. It's not because, and that's why people get bad reviews on the cryoslimming treatments is because they educate their clients, and they like I said, they glorify the fact that you can lose 1 to 2 inches in a single session off your waist. That is true. It'll do 3/4 to 2 inches, depending on your diet, your workout schedule, and your lifestyle. And I feel like everyone needs to not focus on weight loss when it comes to one of the treatments for cryotherapy. Most people don't, but there is a few who they overplay that aspect of cryotherapy. And then when they do that, not only are they paying because their clients aren't happy with their service. When you typically focus on weight loss, you tend to attract the wrong type of clientele. Mm-hmm. If you're promoting that, hey, this is lose 500 calories in 3 minutes, as opposed to 100% pain relief in 3 minutes, or just pain relief in 3 minutes. Those two different headlines, in just like an organic post, are going to attract two completely different people. It's going to appeal to two different people. And when people focus on weight loss, they're going to pay for it in the long run because it's attracting the wrong clientele.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And you actually mentioned about you had like a cancer patient. Did you let them do the whole body cryo? Do you let them do that, or because
no?
Because the way that I've learned about it is that if someone has had cancer treatment, like if they had like skin cancer, or really, I've been told for any type of cancer that you don't want to let them in the cryotherapy session or chamber, or localized, because it opens up your blood vessels and it increases the circulation, which could possibly spread the cancer more. Mm-hmm. That's just what I've been told from 3 other cryotherapy centers. I don't talk about it that much. But like that's the kind of info that I've been picking up on. I don't know if you guys know or have a better way of explaining, that if you guys have had to deal with that or anything like that.
We've had several cancer patients, including the one that we have right now. And then we just basically tell them we have the infrared sauna, which is recommended. I'm actually getting more people saying their doctors are recommending the infrared sauna during treatment. So that's really great, again, to have those other modalities. But I just tell them, cryotherapy will be great once you're cleared, you're in remission, your doctor has given you the all good. But it is a systemic full body flush. And pretty much once you say that, they're like, oh, because I think every cancer patient really starts to realize that, oh, I don't want that. But it's kind of the same verbiage you use, where it's, it's a full body systemic flush. It's meant to calm the body, but when your body's dealing with cancer, we consider that a contraindication, just because we don't want to risk that possibly spreading the cancer. And they say, mm-hmm. Oh, okay, that's fine with me. So
right. I don't think you're going to get too many people angry about that after you put it that way. That's interesting. But on the other end of things, cryotherapy is really great for post-surgery. I know a lot of doctors are actually recommending it. Someone posted, who is it? I should have gotten them on the podcast. Someone posted about their mom. She had twins, and had a C-section, and it wasn't the horizontal cut at the lower abdomen. It was the vertical cut from the center of her chest down, and she had a huge, I think she said like 9-inch scar, something like that. I just noticed that she had a really big scar down the center of her stomach for 25 years. And she tried, I really should have had her on. But after just a handful of sessions, she noticed immediate results after her first whole body cryotherapy session. She visually saw the difference in the scar tissue. And after, I want to say it was in between 5 to 8 sessions. It was 5 or 8 sessions. After 5 sessions, that scar that she had, that 8-inch nasty scar that she's had for 25 years, was completely gone after 5 or 8 sessions of cryotherapy. And after the doctors had told her that scar would never fade. It's too big of a scar to really ever go away. And that was like a discovery that I came across this week. And I was just, even more blown away with, cryotherapy as a whole. And
that would maybe be a good thing for the on-spot. I wonder a new way to market that in the future, as far as doing some research and seeing how. I know that I think I read what you were talking about, and I want to say, wasn't that whole body cryo that she did?
It might have been localized. Okay,
that'd be worth looking into.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty awesome to be able to go in and work on some people's nasty scars,
Mm-hmm.
That maybe would be even like burn victims. I mean, they can't, but the only thing is they can't do heat. They can't regulate their body temperature. So that, it could be some other possible things in the future as far as scar tissue, really opening up that for us.
Right. That would, I would be very interested to, find or meet an owner of a cryotherapy center, or just someone in general who uses cryotherapy for, cosmetic, scar removals. Is there a way to resolve scars without cryotherapy? I feel like there is, but I can't. Obviously, I've never had the incentive to, do research on that specifically.
Well, we've worked with them, and I mean, you can surgically remove them. Then, of course, more scar tissue is made. But I had this conversation with a client last week. It depends on how nasty the scar tissue is, whether or not it's worth going in and removing it surgically, so you can have a nicer surgery. But as far as I know, I mean, we do scar tissue release therapy.
That's when you break it up.
Like friction or scraping type stuff. Mm-hmm. But again, it's like we're making it more pliable. So what is like the cryotherapy doing as far as, you would think that scar tissue wouldn't have the ability to break down and rebuild, but if her scar is disappearing completely, I mean, what is it doing to a 25-year-old scar that the body wasn't already doing? It
could be treating it like a fat cell, and shrinking it to where the body disposes of it naturally.
Yeah, that'd be like groundbreaking research if they could get that done, because I can't tell you how many people, everyone has scar tissue, and sometimes it's really debilitating.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be amazing if we could get some good research behind whether or not that is a real permanent fix to these issues.
I want to see if I can find that. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look at that tomorrow. I was gonna say I'll do that today, but I'm not gonna have time to do that for today. But that's like that. That was just like another interesting breakthrough in cryotherapy that I found out. How do you guys go about educating your clients about heart conditions? Most heart conditions. I'm trying to think of the specific one that I had in my head. I can't remember the name of it. Cardiovascular something. But how do you guys go about heart conditions? Do you what questions do you ask? Because some people might not say hey, I've had this surgery. So like, do you ask them like these questions or put them on the waiver when it comes to like heart problems? Because again, the whole thing for, you know, whole body is, you know, it increases circulation. And if someone has, you know, heart problems, they might not be able to handle that much that increase that cryotherapy provides. And I'm not sure if local cryotherapy would have the same effect as whole body. But you know, like what are your guys' 2 cents on that when it comes to heart conditions?
I have, we have it on our form of any, so we have that as a contraindication.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I'm still waiting. Like I tell my clients that have, I'm sure people get skirted underneath the radar that have minimal surgeries, you know, maybe like a stent or angioplasty or something like that. Mm-hmm. Because I do feel like some of those issues could be okay to do it, you know, because they're resolved and they're small. But our general rule is if you have any existing heart condition as far as surgery or under a doctor's care, like prescription wise, besides blood pressure medicine, we allow that, but we just say no. And then when people say, well, I really think I could do it, we say you probably could. You know, I'm not saying, I truly do believe that as the research comes out throughout the years that we probably will start letting some of these heart people back into cryotherapy. Mm-hmm. But again, I just kind of explained to them this is relatively new. We're still building research on the matter. So I'd rather just be safer than sorry, you know. And,
right.
Yeah.
You know, what other, what do you classify as contradictory? What'd you say? I'm not a big vocab guy.
A contraindication.
Yeah, contraindication.
Well, we do age. Let me get up our thing here, and I can actually tell you everything that we do. But definitely age, heart conditions, active cancers. And then we ask some other questions. Let's see.
Any like reaction to cold like there's a cold what's it called? It's like a cold allergy.
Raynaud's is one of the
Raynaud's.
Right, yeah, Raynaud's. So that is underneath our contraindication. We have had people that have done it that have been approved by doctors. That's again one that I think might be okay to a certain extent. Don't take my word for it, but we've personally turned people away for it, and then other times we haven't. But we have someone that does it all the time, and then she just does a smaller amount of time. So she'll do like 2 minutes instead of 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. Pregnancy is a big one. Thrombosis, infection, and then kidney and urinary tract diseases, acute kidney and urinary tract diseases, and then symptomatic lung disorders, and pacemakers, which would be under cardiac stuff, and then severe hypertension.
All right.
So those are our big ones.
Yeah. For pregnancy, you know, what's your, do you have like, you know, you can be, you know, 1 month or 2 months pregnant, or is it like if you're, okay. So it's just like, if you are expecting period, then, you know, you don't allow them in the whole body cryo. And I mean, it makes sense.
We've even had women that have had post-pregnancy that have had major bleeding right after. Now, a woman that will bleed for quite a while after a birth, but the major bleeding afterwards that just kind of backs that up, you know, that whole process of systemic flushing. So, yeah.
So what would you recommend, like, after pregnancy? Like, how long would you wait before going into a whole body chamber?
Well, we say 6 weeks post natural birth, and then 8 weeks post cesarean.
Got it. That makes sense.
And that's just more like that's kind of what the doctor recommends, so we just kind of stick with that. Mm-hmm. I mean, the post natural birth probably, again, could be like a little bit earlier for some people. But that's just the safe. And then I get a lot of people ask if nursing, you can do it while nursing. And yeah, we just have them hold a towel because it can like get your milk going. But so we say it's fine. That's fine too.
All right. Yeah, that all those, really, make a lot of sense. Is there really any other restrictions that you guys want to talk about?
I won't do an open wound, and I won't go over stitches.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, like we had the lady with the open wounds, or we'll get tattoos. I don't know if you'll get those too, which now they're using, that's like a whole nother thing for the tattoo removal. They're using on-spot cryo for that.
Mm-hmm.
But, you can have them, we just have to put things over them.
Right.
Like we have gauze and then tape that will tape a wound up, and then put like the lady with the wound on the ankle. We had her wear like double socks, because it's like more the direct nitrogen on there.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I mean, you pretty much just treat the tattoos and the wounds like you would piercings. Just make sure that they're like covered up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, makes sense. I think that was a very good episode of podcast. I think we can end it here unless you guys have any other exiting statements. But I think we really covered our topic. Like, this was a lot more. I don't want to say like informational, because last episode was really well. It was really nice. This has been the CryoHelpers Podcast. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them down below. And feel free to like, share, and subscribe. My name's Christian. I'm joined with Jennifer and Dan, and hope you guys have a great week. Bye.
Bye.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
See you guys later. All right. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
See you guys next week.